Hey guys, what's up? We are back with some more reactions after dark. Of course, we're going to be watching YouTube's Darkest Videos 8 by Nick Crowley today. And of course, obviously right there, I just whipped up a quick intro for this series since I felt like it should have had one, so why not, right? Just reused my ending screen, the Sia graveyard. Just made some adjustments to that. So now we have a intro. So last time we watched Void for the first time, we watched their very first video ever as well because they're relatively new, question mark, because that video was only like, what, a year or so old? Uh, but yeah, so we have two videos left, technically one video left for Crowley, because this one plus the next one. And because of the suggestion of Galaxy 4541, we might replace him for the time being with Rotten Mango, question mark. If I end up liking the stuff, though, I feel like those videos can end up like being like 3 hours long, since I usually turn these 30-minute videos into an hour and a half. So I can only imagine that those videos will be turned into like, again, twice that, so 3 hours. Yeah, but we'll see. I was thinking about like doubling down and doing two videos, two reactions after dark a day, but then that's a lot of watch time there, like an hour, over an hour in one, and if we're doing Mango, that's like probably like 3 hours. We'll have to see. Maybe I'll just let it roll when watching her stuff, but I feel like it could easily just end up being 3 hours, so we're gonna end up with like 4+ hours of reactions after dark per day. I don't know. We'll have to see if I should be doing two videos plus a day, depending on, I guess it depends on what I'm doing. If I'm doing some short stuff, then sure. Yeah, let's just get into this. But before I forget that, because I mentioned this at the very end where no one's going to be watching, but that video, I think it was a masquerade video, the one where the streamer was killed live because she had been stealing this one guy's money for years, I think, and he finally just got fed up with it and killed her. Again, viewer discretion is advised on these videos. That one, I put like 5 seconds of the City Pop song, like Plastic Love, because I think Masquerade, or if it was Crowley, then Crowley, kept talking about it being Plastic Love, and I was like, I'm pretty sure that's a song. So I put that song in that video, that hour plus video, probably was like close to an hour and a half, maybe not quite, but over an hour video. Put 5 seconds of that song so you can know what I'm talking about. Copyrighted immediately. Whole video copyrighted, demonetized. They get all the money from the video. But of course, I don't make money on YouTube. I don't have ads. So if that video has ads, it's not because of me. It's because that City Pop song got claimed for 5 seconds, and now any money that video makes goes to them. Which again, I don't have ads. I don't have a way to make money on YouTube. So if you're seeing ads, it's not because of me. It's because they claimed that video. Just saying. So it's like, really, an hour plus long video with 5 seconds, maybe even less than that, of audio from that song, and the entire video is nuked. Like, really? Come on, YouTube. Anyways, we can start. I just wanted to talk about that again. Okay, nothing crazy this time. The following video contains scenes that may be upsetting and distressing for some. Viewer discretion is advised.
It was 2:46 p.m. when the ground began to shake.
Oh yeah, this is the Mitsuru Sato tsunami footage. That's what this says down here. So I'm guessing that's what this is going to end up being. I also wanted to update this model that I'm using, since it's not the perfect how I want it to be. Though I'm just like, I just got to record this video already, because I wanted to make the intro and upgrade this model, but we'll just do that another time. Oh, I thought this was like stock footage. This is actually the video. I could have sworn this was just like stock B-roll, but this is the video.
For residents of Anagawa, Japan, Earth.
Did he just say wait? It's not like saying mate, which means wait, like telling the tsunami to wait.
For residents of Anagawa, Japan, earthquakes were nothing new, but this one was different. It carried with it a violence that none of the locals had ever felt before, and by the time the shaking had stopped, everyone in the city seemed to be left in a momentary state of shock. This was especially true for the nearly 160 Chinese workers and students that had recently moved to the area, with most having never experienced any earthquake, let alone one of this magnitude.
How long has he been doing these little boxes like this? I feel like this is like a new occurrence for him. I mean, I like this little box thing he's doing, but I feel like his older videos didn't have this technique, if we want to call it that.
Of these workers were a tight-knit group of 20 women who had recently been hired as trainees at a company called Sato Susan, a company that sold fresh seafood. And having been at work at the time of the quake, they frantically ran out of the building and stood in the street desperately trying to figure out what to do next, unaware of the fact that the real horrors were still yet to come. In Japan, it's not just the earthquakes you have to worry about, but the tsunamis that often follow. And usually, the bigger the earthquake, the bigger the wave. And given that Anagawa was right on the sea and Sato Susan was directly on the shoreline, these women were now standing directly in the path of an impending disaster. Thankfully, their boss, Mitsudo Sato, was well aware of what was to come, and quickly he yelled to the women to seek higher ground. But given their unfamiliarity with the area, Sato knew that he would have to be the one to lead them there. The group readily listened, and they quickly followed Sato as he led them up a set of stairs on a nearby hill, where they eventually reached a shrine that overlooked Anagawa and the sea. It was the highest point in the area, and should keep them safe from what would likely be a massive influx of water.
Should. Keyword should.
And sure enough, as they neared the top, Sato's fears were already coming true. As the sea had drastically retreated, it was now beginning to push forward, and things were only going to get worse from here. But despite understanding this, it wasn't a deterrent for Sato, as once he deemed the altitude safe enough for this group of women, he then turned around and began to walk back down the hill towards the slowly flooding city. The girls yelled at him asking where he was going, which is when he revealed that down below in his home in Anagawa were his wife and his daughter, who were now directly in the path of this unfolding disaster, and he was going to save them.
I keep wanting to read these things, but he basically just does it himself.
The girl screamed out to him, begging him not to go, as things had already become incredibly dangerous, but he didn't so much as turn his head as he stepped down onto the street and disappeared from their view. And it was at this time that one of those girls standing high atop the hill began to record.
No, she started recording, so it's not his footage then. But it says Mitsuru Sato tsunami footage, but it's apparently her footage, not his footage. YouTube's not, because we're just going straight into it now. I wasn't expecting this a hard cut to that.
All my life, family has been super important to me.
Now we're going into the ad
I
roll.
love my family, but I also realize I don't know much about them, at least outside of my immediate family members.
What are you talking about? Okay, I was like, what do you mean you don't know anything about your family?
And when thinking about this the other day, I went down a rabbit hole of trying to find out more information about
I assume this is just all the ad. My heritage, sure. Yeah, like I was saying about this model, there's a few little nitpicks I want to change to fix. I think I was pretty much done fixing it, but I just could be bothered to go and do it right now. Because I do plan on selling this model if you want to be able to use this model yourself. It's going to be part of the shop that I'm going to be opening up on my Kofi, I think, called like the Little Shop of Cuties. The Mine Castlin is going to be up there too, but I think I need to finish the Mine Castlin first before I put this one. I want to put them up at the same time so that at least there is two models up at the same time instead of just only one. So I look forward to being able to buy this model in the future once I'm done adding a few touches. I don't know if I want the ears to be like wiggly like this, or if I need them to be more constrained.
So thank you to MyHeritage for this paid partnership. Do you want to uncover your story? Start with MyHeritage and get your first 14 days completely free. Just use my link.
Trying to move out of the QR code. QR code's away. Yeah, chapter 1. Mitsuru Sato Tsunami footage.
footage shows that the shoreline was no more, as the water had inundated the entire area as it slowly crept its way deeper and deeper into the city streets. The women were understandably in a panic, trying to make sense of this ordeal that they were now given a front row seat to.
I couldn't understand what they were saying. It didn't even sound like Japanese. I mean, it probably is, but it didn't sound like it to me.
And as they record,
Probably because of the panic. / I just don't understand the words that they're using.
we can hear them desperately calling out for Sato, but at no point do we see him. We
Oh,
just
were
know
they?
that he's down there,
Were they saying Sato? I didn't hear that.
somewhere. And as the desperation in their pleas increases, so too does the fury of the water.
I don't know why they're not going up higher, because they're on a flight of stairs. I feel like they should go... Well, the stairs are going up, since they're on the stairs, so go even higher. Like, get up those stairs. I don't know how Japan just constantly weathers this all the time. Like, you assume these buildings get slammed all the time, if not yearly, and yet we still have buildings here. We still have all this stuff. I mean, they need space, right? But like, after being slammed so many times, when do you just give up putting buildings in this area? Or obviously, like, eventually invent some super high tech nonsense that stops the tsunamis. I mean, that will just be like a bubble shield, right? But we're like hundreds, if not thousands of years off of having shield generators, right?
They could
the
only
sirens?
watch as Anagawa as they knew it was completely eviscerated. And by this point, they realized that there was now essentially no hope for Sato. It was at this time that the women realized that despite already being at a considerable height, it still might not be enough, and so they ran even higher up the hill, desperately trying to get out of the path of this water.
Like I said, like, clearly this goes even higher than that, so they probably should be up there.
And as they did so, they noticed something down below.
That was gonna be Sato. I'm gonna have to go back to the beginning of this and see something. Did they just say Sato-san?
Standing on a rooftop in the middle of this massive tsunami was Mitsudo Sato.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying, because it sounded like they said Sato-san.
The building that he stood on was once a full 2 stories off the ground, but was now just a few inches above the surface of the water.
How did he get up there? I don't know if he's gonna be okay. Because the water's obviously gonna keep coming up there. I mean, it depends, because like, they can see him with this bad camera, so it feels like he's just like a few hops and skips away, like from go to this building, the next building, and then the stairs are right there. But obviously you can't really tell from this zoom. That might be really zoomed in.
The women again call out to him, this time even more frantically, but at this point, it was no use. And when the camera is taken off Sato for just a split second, we can hear just from the women's reaction the exact moment that he swept away. The recording stops shortly after and restarts minutes later, revealing that the streets where the women had been standing just moments before were now fully underwater, and the buildings that once stood around them were now reduced to nothingness. In front of them was a sea of death, and had Mitsudo Sato not led them up that hill, then all of these women would have certainly been a part of it. The date was March 11th, 2011, a day where Japan had been hit by its most devastating earthquake ever, with it ringing in at a magnitude 9.0. which in turn caused the nation's worst ever tsunami, as that day, 19,759 people would lose their lives.
20,000 people, Jesus Christ.
With Mitsuru Sato being one of them. But against all odds, his wife and daughter were not part of that death toll, as it's been reported that they were later found alive and unharmed. The devastation that occurred that day is incomprehensible, and all the footage of this disaster could warrant a place in this video, especially the footage of Anagawa, as you can see what it looked like before, during, and after. But what I found so interesting about this was all throughout this disaster were stories like Sato's, a man who risked his life to save 20 women that he hardly knew, and a man who gave his life trying to save his family, walking directly into the path of the worst natural disaster in modern Japanese history, all in an attempt to save the ones that he loved. And I honestly find it quite beautiful that afterwards, these women adamantly shared his story and made sure that the world forever remembered Mitsuru Sato as the hero that he was. And of those 160 Chinese migrants who worked in the area.
Okay, that's all. That's what I need to know. Because I was saying earlier, I need to go back and see. Because it sounds like they're speaking Chinese, but not Japanese, which is why I was like confused. Why I couldn't understand what they were saying. Because it's, well, not necessarily couldn't understand, but it didn't sound like Japanese to me. Because it wasn't. They were speaking Chinese. It sounded Chinese.
Area. It was later reported that not a single one of them perished, which speaks volumes about the people of Anagawa, who so readily put others' lives before their own.
Yeah, I mean, that one was just sad. Basically, it looked like Sato could just like make it there, but I guess he just immediately got swept away by a wave that we couldn't see as soon as they took the camera off of him. Unfortunately. Like, oof.
Fire marshal is investigating a blaze in Georgetown.
Chapter 2.
2 people found dead inside the home.
The man in the garage. What is this gonna be? Looks like there's 4 stories here, and the Sato one was the longest, but there was also a ad read in that, so technically I think the 3rd story is the longest. Also, I guess technically this is footage of Sato, because we have the Mitsuru Sato tsunami footage, but it's like not him taking the footage. Obviously, it was them having the footage of him and quote unquote his last moments, possibly.
So far, it's not known how the fire started.
It was just past 5:30 a.m. on the 17th of February 2021 when residents of a small neighborhood in Georgetown, Ontario were woken by the sound of sirens blaring.
Okay, so I'm assuming this is Canada, right?
One man frantically grabbed his cell phone and rushed outside to record the unfolding scene, where he was met with a horrific sight.
House on fire.
His neighbor's home was fully engulfed in flames. It must have happened quickly, as by the time rescue workers even arrived on the scene, there was already little hope of saving the house, or any of its occupants. It would take hours before that blaze was finally quelled, revealing the charred devastation inside.
The house didn't collapse somehow.
As firefighters would find the remains of 56-year-old Christina Rirak and 59-year-old Andrew Rirak within
Why do they look familiar?
the home's garage. The cause of this fire was initially unknown, but quickly the situation was deemed suspicious.
Initially unknown.
When experts determined that the fire had started as a result of some sort of explosion that had happened within the garage where the couple's bodies were found.
Hold on, I think I've seen this story before. It's just too familiar. Like, couple dead in garage, suspicious fire. Yeah, it just feels familiar. I don't know where I would have seen it before, though.
This was later confirmed by security footage obtained from a neighbor who lived across the street, capturing the moments when it suddenly ignited around 5:27 a.m. There was clearly something off with this case, and things only became more sinister following the autopsies of Andrew and Christina.
Yeah, I'm starting to like remember something here extra. I'm not gonna spoil it though, if I am remembering correctly. Again, I don't know where the heck I would have known this story from though.
Which revealed that they hadn't actually died in that fire, and instead, both of them had been stabbed to death. with Andrew also being badly beaten. This fire wasn't started to kill them, it was started to cover up their murder. And it did a good job of it too, as the scene was now left completely destroyed, with very little evidence being left behind. But there was something else investigators thought to check. That's security footage. The camera had been facing the garage where all of this carnage seemed to have happened, and so they thought maybe if they looked back far enough, it could at the very least show what had led up to this brutal attack.
I mean, they had to see someone walking up to it, right? Depending on how good it is at capturing things. Are they just letting this camera roll indefinitely, or is it only when movement happens?
And so they rewound that footage, going back hours and hours, during all of which the garage had remained perfectly still, until they got all the way back to 6:42 of the day prior, February 16th. The film showed the moments that the couple had arrived home together inside of Christina's car, which Andrew had been driving that night, as he pulled uneventfully into the garage. This was the last time this couple was seen alive on camera, which on its own is disturbing enough. But as it turns out, there was something far more unsettling about this footage, as it revealed the fact that Christina and Andrew weren't alone.
Yeah, you can see, you already saw it there, but you might not have. Like look right here, you might see someone like taking 2 steps right there, I think. Like roll it back, and then just like the red lights this area up. See footstep, footstep, like the 2 legs moving there, possibly, and then moving in deeper. Yep. And he's on Christina's side, right? So you can be threatening her, and then the guy has no choice but to comply.
The footage showed a tall figure, its features completely shrouded in darkness, almost as
It depends on if they drive on the right side. Like, where's the steering wheel? I mean, it's Canada, right? So it's probably the same as here, right?
if it were a shadow, with this figure lying in wait out of sight on the side of the house, until right after Andrew pulls the car into the garage, when this person slips in behind them. It's impossible to say for sure if the couple noticed this person or not, but it appears that they likely didn't, as they both start to exit the vehicle, to which the figure then ducks down in an attempt to avoid detection. Until the garage door begins to slowly close.
How did they get out of the car? 2 of them in the car. He is on one side. Like, where was the woman at? Hello? He got out on the left, but he would have been right behind the woman if she got out on the right. What? That is weird. Like, he's barely attempting to hide at all.
Either Christina or Andrew would make it out of that garage alive, as just seconds after this footage, they both would be brutally murdered by this unidentified person.
I'm guessing they both left on the left side. She didn't sit in the front seat, she sat in the back, so they both left on the left side.
The footage is terrifying and speaks to that innate fear in most of us, the fear of being followed, of being watched, and attacked in the moments where we least expect it. It's paranoia-inducing, and made even more off-putting by the fact that this clearly seemed to be premeditated. Whoever this was knew their schedule and had been waiting for them to arrive home, in a place where they knew they wouldn't be seen. But by this point, their motivation was as unknown as their identity. Following the discovery of this footage, bits and pieces were released to the press in order to get the public's help in identifying this unknown assailant. It represented a rare instance of a killer being clearly caught on camera right before committing a crime, but that's also what made this case so frustrating, as despite the video capturing this person, none of their features were discernible at all.
I mean, it's just a black silhouette. Like, you can't really do anything with that. Though, I feel like there's something I know about this that we might end up getting.
Unsurprisingly, the footage didn't bring in any relevant leads, but it at the very least showed investigators that whoever this person was knew the couple, due to its obvious premeditation. Though when looking into both Andrew and Christina, it was clear that neither of them really had any enemies in their life, with the exception of one. Harrison Brown was a 27-year-old employee at a company called Rogue Transportations. of which Christina happened to be the vice president of operations, and during his time there, Harrison was known to be abrasive and combative, with Christina often having to be the one to reprimand him, leading to Harrison resenting her. It isn't clear how police were tipped off about this strained working relationship, but they had somehow grown suspicious enough of Harrison to pay his home a visit. In what
I mean, probably just anybody at the office that actually liked her, I would assume. They're like, oh yeah, this guy is like a bad dude. He's a bad egg.
What they found inside showed that this resentment he had towards Christina had actually morphed into a twisted obsession. Inside, police found satellite images of the Rearx home, along with the software on the man's computer and cell phone that showed that on the 12th of February, he had secretly attached a tracking device to Christina's car.
This is what I remembered, that they put like a GPS tracker on the car, and that's how he knew when to attack and whatnot. Again, so I don't know where the heck I heard this story from. Like, where did I get this story? Who would have told the story other than Crowley, or I guess maybe Masquerade? Maybe an older Masquerade video that I didn't do on the channel? 'Cause, like, where else would I have heard this? Who else covered this story? Like, for some reason, like, they looked familiar. The house looked familiar. And I immediately was like, yeah, this is the one where they were murdered, and the guy GPS'd them, and then snuck into the house, killed them, and then burnt it down. Yeah, like I remember that.
And he had been tracking her movements for days, which is precisely how he knew when she would be arriving home. And as if this revelation wasn't damning enough, they would also find a broken knife in his garage that contained trace amounts of Christina's blood. It was obvious what Harrison had done, and when confronted with this evidence, there was nothing more he could say other than the truth. So he admitted he had grown a hatred for Christina because of the way that she had treated him at work, and he decided that he needed to get his revenge. That's when he purchased this tracking device and began obsessing over her movements, studying them before finding the perfect time and place to strike. And on February 16th, he waited outside the Rearx home and snuck into their garage before attacking and killing them both.
Like, how does like getting in trouble at work twist your mind so much to then be like, yeah, I'm gonna kill this woman and her husband? So it said he beat the husband up, question mark. I don't know what that implies. Like, did they get into a scuffle and he just happened to win that brawl because he had the knife, or what? Because you assume his hatred for Christina would have made him do, like, maybe beat her up. But it says he just attacked the husband. I don't know. Yeah, like, really? From just work? That's all it took to make you snap? Again, like I said, I think sanity is in a sharp decline with humanity currently, or it has been for quite a while. It just keeps getting lower and lower.
After the assault, Harrison would leave the home, where he began to grow paranoid about being caught, and so he returned to the house the very next morning to start that fire, with the hopes being that the blaze would cover up his tracks. Though thankfully, this didn't work, and after pleading guilty to 2 counts of first-degree murder and 1 count of arson, Harrison Brown would be sentenced to life in prison.
Sure. I guess no parole then, so it's just pure life. Officer Feaster's dash cam. Feasters? That is your last name, Feaster. Like Fester? Even like if it was Fester, that would be bad. Like, isn't Uncle Fester? Isn't that the guy from Addams Family? Is that his name? But like Feaster? We keep hearing some like weird names. Like, really? I can't get over that. Feasters. Feaster. Just straight into
It's
it?
the eve of Thanksgiving, 2015.
Really? It's Thanksgiving. This guy's name is Feaster.
Police Officer Patrick Feaster sits in his cruiser parked alongside the road in the town of Paradise, California, waiting for his first action of this uncharacteristically quiet night. His car was facing the direction of a well-known local cantina, which patrons were known to drive away from under the influence. And sure enough, as the clock approached midnight, the calmness around Feaster would be shattered by the sight of a car speeding out of the restaurant's parking lot. The car went unseen by Feaster's dashcam, but not by Feaster himself, as he took off, doing his best to catch up with the car that was now speeding down the road, and within a few seconds, he does. As the car slowly comes into frame for the first time, Inside that vehicle was 26-year-old Andrew Thomas and his ex-wife, 23-year-old Darian Aaron. Andrew had been drinking heavily that night and was well over the legal limit, with his driving showing as much as he failed to pull over once Feaster approached him, resulting in a police chase that would only end up lasting just a few seconds.
What is he doing with his ex-wife? Question mark. Are they just hanging out? I mean, if he's drunk, like, were they just really hanging out, drinking together, even though they're no longer together? These seem like there would be bad blood, but or is he just have her hostage or something? I don't know about this story, so I don't know. Okay, flips. It just spun out, I think, and flips.
Just east of Black Olive.
Copy, roll.
I can't tell what's happening. I think is the middle of the screen censored? I think it is, so they must have gotten pretty messed up there, fell out of the car, and it's pretty bad, I would have to assume, for it to be censored there in the middle. There's like this weird rectangle right here.
As Andrew would drive his car directly into a median, causing the SUV to flip over violently before coming to a halt on its side. In that instant, Darian was ejected from the vehicle, being thrown straight through the windshield and landing onto the asphalt,
No
where despite
seatbelt.
still being alive, her injuries were likely unsurvivable. But Andrew, on the other hand, was still inside the vehicle, and he seemed to have been left relatively unharmed. As perhaps being boosted by adrenaline, he quickly tried to crawl his way out of the car in a desperate attempt to check on Darian, with Officer Feaster's dashcam capturing the entire ordeal.
I'm guessing, again, like the censor rectangle is probably, Darian? Is that it? Which one's which?
Though just as Andrew attempted to do
Yeah.
so,
He's Andrew, she's Darian. Is it gonna blow up? Because Feaster needs to get out of there,
we
right?
see Feaster step into the frame.
What? Hello? Feaster? What are you doing? Hello? I mean, obviously he's just, if you don't understand, he just took his gun out and he's aiming it at Andrew. I mean, sure, you were just in a chase and they crashed, but it feels a bit much to just, like, take your gun out like that. That felt very aggressive. I mean, their body language usually looks like that, right? But I wasn't expecting that. I don't know why I wasn't expecting that. Him to just take his gun out.
Where he suddenly draws his gun, and without saying a single word, fires 2 shots at Andrew.
Okay, so he just opens up. Doesn't even give any time. Just like, I'm just gonna kill him. Like, what? Hello? You literally chased him for like a few seconds. You had no understanding of the situation whatsoever. What is going on here? Hello? Feaster?
With one of the bullets appearing to strike him, causing his body to go limp as he falls back into the car.
Then just like quietly puts his gun away and then starts walking in. Like, he looks at Darian on the floor, dead, and then just like calmly walks past her to go to Andrew. Like, what? I don't understand what's this guy's problem.
It happened in a literal instant, so fast that it's clear Feaster had most likely accidentally discharged his weapon, as there was no attempt at communication.
Roll that back, is it?
It's clear Feaster had most likely accidentally discharged his weapon, as there was no attempt at communication before the shot was fired, with Andrew clearly posing no risk to him, as both of his hands were being used to hoist himself up. From the footage, this all seems to be a horrible accident, and one that Feaster seemed to recognize right away, as he rushed up to the car, pointing his flashlight at the man that he had just shot.
He was saying, like, accidentally discharged it downward. Because, like, if you look, roll this back. When he's pulling the gun out of the holster, it looks like it flashes, but I think it's just like reflections. But it kind of looks like it shot downward as he's pulling it out. So I was confused when he said accidentally discharged, but I think he just meant he pointed it at him and then accidentally shot the 2 shots. Accidentally, in quotations.
Up. As he rushed up to the car, pointing his flashlight at the man that he had just shot, staring at him for over 10 seconds, trying to make sense of what he had just done, before he finally snaps out of it and uses his radio to call for backup. Though this is when this already dark video starts to become much more disturbing.
How?
I've got an unresponsive female. I got a male in the car refusing to get out.
Is it because he says he has a male in the car refusing to get out? Is he just straight up lying?
When Feaster makes this call, he never mentions the shooting, and instead he states that the driver was refusing to get out of the vehicle.
I mean, it's not like they didn't see it on his dash cam, and they would be able to check the bullet casing, the bullet in him, and like match it to his gun. I think they do that, right? You can see if their gun shot around, and you can see if the bullet itself matches the gun it's on top of that, etc., etc.
This is then followed by Feaster walking away from the man and pointing his flashlight to the ground, almost as if he was looking for something.
The bullet casing? Casings?
Copy, cross on Black Olive.
He shot too?
Pearson.
Copy, Black Olive and Pearson.
With some theorizing that he was looking for his shell casings.
Yeah, that's what I was assuming.
Though right then, another officer arrives on the scene and begins to survey the wreckage.
Just her?
No, there's a male in the car refusing to get out.
Where, again, Feaster says that Andrew was refusing to get out of the car, making no mention of the fact that he had just shot him. It's clear at this point what Feaster was trying to do. He was trying to cover up his accident.
Yeah, but I mean, he's been shot, so like, you can't cover up him just being shot to death.
But this suddenly became more difficult when Andrew started to speak.
Oh, not dead yet.
Okay, we got one. He's refusing to get out. Get out of the car, sir. You're not shot, sir. Get out of the car.
Andrew Thomas was still alive and had muttered to Feaster that he had been shot, but even to his face, Feaster denies it. Shortly after, Andrew then tries to tell the other cop what had happened.
Sir, you come out of the car. This car is still on, and I don't want you to get hurt. What do you mean you got shot? Yeah, I was right there. I saw it.
Did you get shot at the cantina? Who shot you? The cop did not shoot you.
But understandably, this other cop wasn't believing him, as surely Feaster would have said something at this point. And so, the minutes start to pass.
Yeah, I'm guessing he's slowly bleeding out inside this car, as nobody is believing this guy that he's been shot by. What is this guy's problem, though? Like, just goofing up? He really goofed up that bad? Was he really, or maybe he was scared, so he just accidentally pulled the trigger? Or something? I don't know. Bad cop. It is easy to say, but sure. I don't know what else to say, but then just like, he's just bad.
Full minutes, Feaster continues processing the scene like nothing had happened.
Not bad as in like a crooked cop, just bad as in like, he should not have been a cop to begin with.
With the other officer being left to theorize that Andrew must have been seriously injured and was likely in a state of shock, which is why he was making all of these strange claims about being shot.
He may be hurt in there. Yeah, I know he is. He's in shock at the very least.
From here, the footage cuts, and we're only left with the audio from that same officer's body cam, as he attempts to get more information from Andrew.
Sir, I need you to talk to me so I know you're okay. Sir, take a look at me. Did you bump your head?
But by this point, he had gone completely silent.
Hey, where was he shot? Hello? You can't have that on screen? Crowley? I'm pretty sure the guy's over there on the left side, and there's some blood on that. YouTube's gonna, like, obliterate you for that, and me. I don't see a warning, thankfully, but you never know with YouTube.
10 minutes later, the footage then cuts back on, this time to another officer's body cam, which shows that an ambulance had now finally arrived on the scene, with medics first directing their attention to Darian, who was in the worst shape, as she would tragically be pronounced dead shortly after. But despite all of these first responders on the scene, none of them had any idea that the man inside that vehicle had just been shot, and shot by one of their colleagues. And in these moments, Andrew was slowly losing his life as each minute passed. It would take 11 full minutes before Feaster finally confessed.
Sir, you hold this scene, Manny, with me. We're going over to the canteen to find out if this guy...
Where's he gonna say it? Okay, he finally said it. He's like, no, this is just like, just whatever. He comes out of the car, and I think I shot him. He wasn't even pointing at him, but the gun did go off. Still trying to cover up what had happened, but he did. I mean, he was pointing at him like straight up. Again, like, you should know how cop stuff works. How long have you been a cop? So again, I don't know how, no offense, how cops can be cops when they're so, you know, out of shape? Question mark?
Saying that he might have shot the man, but he
Yeah, like he just was not cut out to be a cop. He should not have been a cop.
wasn't sure. And immediately after saying this,
Oh my God, are you serious?
the recording is stopped and the footage comes to an end.
Did he like just turn it off himself? Because it looked like he grabbed the camera and like turned it off. If that's even something they can do. If there's like a kill switch on the camera. I feel like they should just have them on all the time and have no way to turn them off. But I don't know.
Sure enough, in that moment, Officer Patrick Feaster had in fact shot Andrew Thomas, with a bullet striking him directly in the neck. And the reason
Okay,
why
the
he
neck.
wasn't
That's not good. Could have hit his, what is it called? The something artery. But if that was shot, he would have been dead like almost immediately, right? Because he would just bled out almost instantaneously.
getting out of his vehicle.
I don't know if it's called the ephemeral artery or something like that, but there's like somewhere in your neck, there's a really bad artery, I guess, that if it gets cut, etc., you're basically just dead.
Was because that gunshot had left him fully paralyzed from the neck down. His condition was awful, and made worse by the length of time that it took for him to receive proper treatment. And despite fighting for weeks, Andrew Thomas would lose his life less than 1 month later due to that gunshot wound. Afterwards, Feaster admitted that he did fire his gun, but claimed that in the moment he wasn't actually sure if he had hit Andrew. But many found this hard to believe, as his gun clearly goes off while he's pointing it at Andrew, and he clearly gets a good view of him immediately after the fact. Not to mention the fact that Andrew literally told him over and over again that he was shot. But for many, by far the most incriminating moment was when Feaster appeared to be looking for his shell casings.
Yeah, I mean, like, he's literally looking for his casings to see if, to try to get them away from evidence. Or he was like, again, if he was somehow in shock and didn't actually know if he shot his gun, and then was looking for casings to see if he did in fact shoot his gun. But I mean, you could have just looked at your magazine to see if it was missing a bullet.
And because of his actions, Officer Patrick Feaster would be found guilty of manslaughter and receive a prison sentence of 180 days.
Okay, I was like, what? 180 years? Like, Jesus Christ. But no, it's just, well, I mean, he no longer has his job, he killed the guy, but like 180 days is like nothing.
A decision that was heavily contested but ultimately upheld. And while no one is defending Andrew Thomas's decision to drink and drive that night, Feaster's use of deadly force and his blatant attempt at covering it up make this footage harrowing nonetheless.
Again, that was just like crazy. There are many who believe that Officer Feaster intentionally shot Andrew that day. It's difficult to explore this theory without being able to show the full footage, so I recommend looking up the case for yourself and drawing your own conclusion. Yeah, I don't know what that guy's problem was. It just seems like he was just like should not have been put into this position, should not have been allowed to be a cop. Like, I'm trying not to be harsh, but was unable to find like the words I'm trying to look for. Like, he was a buffoon. Let's just put it that way. He was literally a buffoon and should not have been given this job. We do have another story after this. I haven't really been saying too much, I think. For only like 45 minutes out of a 24-minute. We've seen 24 minutes so far. We're at 25. I mean, that's 20 bonus minutes, but I feel like that's still not enough. We need to hit an hour.
I don't got no problem with giving back, man.
This must be the guy on, or not the guy, but the story has the guy on the thumbnail for this video. Young
I'm the only one out here with a show
QC.
that's actually giving back.
Young QC gives back.
You feel me? And I got proof to show it.
It's May 2013. 23-year-old Quamaine Wilson arrives at his local bank in Chicago, Illinois, to deposit $20,000 cash, which he planned on giving out to groups of his most adoring fans.
Man, about to go
That's not a good idea.
get this $1,000 out for the fans, man. Really, I'm gonna take out 20,000, man, just to show people. You feel me? I'm on a whole different level with this.
To this point, Quamaine had carved out a respectable following on his YouTube channel, where he acted in a series called The Nick Story.
One more word out your mouth, and that's your ass. That's your life. I'm gonna take it myself and put it in my graveyard with the rest of them.
Along with posting music he made under the name Young QC.
I don't want to get copyrighted. Crowley, hello. I would like to not be copyrighted. Crowley?
Based on his viewership alone, his success was apparent, and he wasn't shy about showing off the wealth that he claimed to have accrued as a result of it, posting photos and videos of himself flaunting large amounts of cash across his social media pages. But this video was by far his most boastful yet, as he would take that $20,000 and throw it into the air for all of his fans to fight over. With Quamaine clearly relishing in the opportunity to show off his riches, despite the fact that behind the scenes, things weren't quite as they seemed.
Behind the scenes? I mean, just throwing a bunch of money away like that, I'm assuming you're just gonna get robbed. But I don't think that's where the story's going.
The truth was, Quamaine had actually earned very little from his channel despite its viewership, with this being on account of his videos containing copywritten music, and the fact that he only had a dozen or so uploads. In fact, his social media flexing had started well before he even made his first video.
Can you not destroy a $20 bill, please?
As in reality, all of this money was coming straight from his mother, Yolanda Holmes.
Oof.
Having started a successful business in Chicago, Yolanda made a great living for herself and Quamaine. And being her only son, Quamaine was given just about anything he could have asked for. She would buy him designer clothes, jewelry, and even the Mustang seen in this video. But for Quamaine, it never seemed to be enough. He wanted to achieve a life of fame and riches, and he used his mother's finances to sell the illusion that he already had, asking her again and again to purchase him things that could help him sell this dream, until one day, it all came crashing down, when Yolanda would tragically lose her life.
I figured, like, one of the only ways to get cut off, I mean, other than, like, being like, no, I'm not giving you any more money.
Just like that, Quamaine's entire support system had fallen out beneath his feet, leaving him without his mother and without the provider who was funding his entire life. But strangely, this didn't seem to stop his lavish online presence. In fact, his spending only seemed to increase after this, as this footage of him giving away money to fans actually took place after the death of his mother, which became extremely off-putting for law enforcement, as Yolanda hadn't simply passed away, and instead, she had been brutally murdered.
Was kind of assuming that might have been the case as well, but didn't want to say it.
Quamaine had learned something shortly before Yolanda's passing, that not only were his mother's savings entirely willed to him, but she had also taken out 2 life insurance policies, in which
2?
he was the sole beneficiary.
Can you do that? Can you life insurance yourself twice? Is that something you can do? I mean, I feel like there shouldn't be a reason you can't do that, because you're giving them money, right? Just funneling money into life insurance your whole life. Well, I guess it makes sense that you can get multiple if you really want to make sure someone gets money after you're gone. But yeah, I was thinking, like, wouldn't all her savings just go to him anyways, because she's the only one in his life? So who would just get all the money to begin with, let alone the life insurance stuff?
And despite Yolanda giving him anything that he could have asked for, it seemed that by this point,
I mean, like, I guess the money was just more important than his own mother.
Quamaine had simply grown tired of having to ask. And so, on September 2nd, 2012, He would offer his friend Eugene Spencer $3,500.
$3,500. $3,500
to kill his own mother.
to kill somebody. 3,500. Really? I mean, you could just like work for like a month for like an okay job to get that much. I mean, sure, instantly is fine, but like you can only kill that person one time. Like, come on. I mean, you shouldn't be killing to begin with. I'm saying like that's one 3,500 once, and that's it. And you've ruined your life and taken another person's life.
Eugene accepted the offer, and that night he would travel to the apartment of Yolanda Holmes late at night, where he entered her room and shot her multiple times as she slept. At the time, her boyfriend had been sleeping next to her, and despite jumping up and doing his best to fight off the attacker, Eugene would eventually beat him unconscious before fleeing the scene. Eugene would call Quamain immediately after the attack to tell him that the job was done, but rather than feeling any sort of guilt, Quamain instead had no emotion, and he simply stated, "Make sure the bitch is dead."
Really? Like, are you seriously that she spoiled you that badly that you just don't care about her? Just quantum level spoilage?
And so Eugene went back up to that unit, this time brandishing a knife, and repeatedly stabbed Yolanda until he was absolutely certain she was gone. And with that, Quamain Holmes was a rich man.
What about the boyfriend? Was he seriously just knocked out long enough for him to do that? They didn't say he killed the boyfriend. It's just the boyfriend just happened to be there. And he somehow knocked him out.
And it only cost him the life of his own mother. For a moment, the crime had worked perfectly. The police were left with no concrete leads as to who might have killed Yolanda, and the public largely believed that it was her boyfriend, whom Eugene had knocked unconscious. But no one even thought to look at Quamain.
I mean, like, why would you? Though, how was there no evidence? Just brutally killed by some amateur? You sure he didn't leave any evidence behind? Like, really?
In recognizing that he was in the clear, his behavior grew brazen almost immediately.
Quamain Wilson lost his mother to gun violence on November 14th.
My mother, she was a neighborhood woman. A guy entered her home, and murdered her, just to steal.
As he went on TV to talk about his mother's murder, where he peddled the theory to the public that this was some sort of botched robbery, all the while he showed no emotion. He wouldn't even wait a full week before depositing the money, as he took out $90,000 within just the first few days, and immediately began showing it off to his followers.
Just ripping to 20, like, come on.
And in this footage where he gave away that $20,000, throwing it into the air as if it meant nothing to him, every cent of that had come from the death of his own mother, a death in which he was entirely responsible for. It would take over a full year for Quamain and Eugene to be caught, with police largely being tipped off by his online antics. And in the end, Eugene was given a 100-year prison sentence, while Quamain received 99 years.
I mean, like, what was the difference going to be? But, like, it's basically the same thing, so they both got screwed.
With his legacy now permanently defined by his creation of one of YouTube's darkest videos.
Yeah, so both of them are just in for life. He didn't say anything about parole. Crowley usually talks about parole, so just a century in prison. That's what you get. Killed your own mom for some money. I don't know what happened there. 'Cause Crowley played it or like talked about it as if she had been spoiling him his entire life because she just was like a successful businesswoman or whatnot. So he just like did not grow up needing anything. He just got it whenever he wanted it. But somehow the need to have to ask for it was too much. Like, how do you get so spoiled that having to ask for the things that you want is too much and you just need to have whatever you want instantly? You just need the money now. You just need to have the money, etc., etc. Like, oof. That sucks. Of course, yeah, there's the end. Okay, what do we have? We had Sato, unfortunately, being taken by the tsunami. This one, which again I already knew. Again, who did this? Reported on this? I have no clue, but I definitely have seen this video and knew about this video already. Maybe it was Mr. Ballin. I don't know. You know what? It might have been Mr. Ballin. I don't know. Because it could only have been him or a Lazy Masquerade video that was like from a billion years ago. That just happened. They just happened to do these two together. But maybe it was Mr. Ballin. Because that seems like that would make sense, right? Feasters, again, what is with your last name? Should never have been allowed to be a cop. This was just stupid. And this one, just like, really, your own mom for some money. Oof. Okay, guys. We are probably going to be doing the Void again tomorrow. And then the day after that will be Crowley. And then the day after that will be Void. But then the day after that will be Rotten Mango. Unless I want to just start doubling up on these videos. Maybe I'll just do 2 just to test Rotten Mango out. Let's see if it will be okay. And then we'll eventually go to just pinging back and forth between Mango and the Void. Or any other extra stuff. Because if there's any short stuff out there, I could just like throw that in as like a bonus for the day. Because I have no issue uploading like 1,000 videos a day. It's just the time. Like there's literally only so much time in a day to do things. That's like literally the only constraint that would stop me. Plus I need to upload any of these like long videos at nighttime because the only time where I have maximum upload speed. I can't do them during the day. Hey guys, thanks for watching. Remember to buy my stickers, to think about becoming a member, subscribe if you haven't subscribed. We can watch time and subscribers, and don't forget we have a throw now as well. And shout out to the members, EmmyStarr and RaleyDrew. I would like to just like burn like 3 minutes, so this video ends up being over an hour, because it just feels good to make the video last that long. But we are just gonna go straight to the end. So yeah, guys, thanks for watching. Tune into the next episode. Like, subscribe, comment. Another do. See ya.